Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live once again on the fields of Erangel. We are into match 21. Richard Sims is joining me once again for this one, and it's a pretty decent playing path to start things off.
Yep, you'd like to be starting week number 2 like this. Gives everyone all being well their home position. Obviously, people on the West Coast might have a bit more of a difficult time. Any teams that want to be looking towards that Ferrypier, Primorsk area, they'll be arriving about the same time as the people up in Georgia. Prim's a tiny bit, not necessarily a tiny bit out of range, but we actually are seeing a bit of a couple of adjustments here. Interestingly, Na'Vi haven't dropped yet, Lee. So
Red Diamonds down on Novo. They could easily have gone to South Georgia. So we were talking about it a lot last week. You know, they were in that hospital area. NIP obviously have been making adjustments as well.
This is the interesting one. Where in Na'Vi started to switch up? Will this become a permanent thing?
Are they going to be North Georgia? No. That's a tester with Razor Edge. It looks like it could be. Okay. So they're going to basically the old Vanguard grounds.
Because remember, this playing path could have put them on Sosnovka Island. They could have done the usual thing. Now, if you are just joining us for week number 2 and don't know exactly how week number 1 went out, Na'Vi was the only CIS team which actually did pick up a win. They had a bit of a shocker of a week, to be honest with you, alongside most of the other CIS teams. But the invited team didn't perform to the standard of what we expected. They clashed heads and butted heads with Liquid time and time again. They then readjusted down to Sosnovka Island. But I've got to say, Lee, this is clearly a sign of going away, doing your homework, and maybe setting a new standard to set you up in a week number 2.
I love the fact they've pulled away from Sosnovka, and it's potentially going down. I think it will probably swing up north.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Most likely. But yeah, so there's 2 teams. So obviously, Na'Vi have decided to go down there, which, I don't know, we didn't quite catch where they went at the start of the scrims. They just finished scrims off, and I can tell you TSM won those scrims, so probably a 16th place finish for them in this game is generally the way it follows up. Yeah, I mean, literally everyone was like, you've just cursed yourself winning that game. So, but we just finished in the hills outside Stauber, but this circle, it is looking like it will be a southern one, obviously, but it's looking like it, you know, we've got about 60% of the mainland. But yeah, Red Diamond's changing things up as well. Obviously, they've been South Georgia Pole along with NIP. Judging by the map at the moment, I can see NIP going along in a lot of vehicles, so they obviously felt the path maybe didn't suit. We'll see whether they stick to these paths or whether this is purely a plane adjustment. Obviously, as you just said, you know, a lot of these teams, and with the benefit of having team streams as well. Not just obviously what we see or what the map sees, but what the teams see. Because they can be in a position like, how did we get wiped by that team? Well, I don't know. Let's go and watch that team stream back. We watch the VOD through and they can see exactly how it's worked out against them. So there's a lot of information there for the teams if they want to use it. Obviously, a lot of these teams do have coaches, etc., that will be tracking back through it. But there's a lot of improvements to be made this week, Richard, but for some of these guys, and this is one of the teams that really need to work on it now. They really have a lot of work to do sitting down the bottom of the table.
They do, but so does the team that's directly next to them in North Georgia. But obviously, they're more to the western side and the western apps. They've pretty much boxed our way into a corner. I mean, Razor Edge will tend to, we've seen them playing last week, tend to play Edge anyway. They're always the slowest into the circle and always kind of the last to the party. They like to interject themselves after the fighting's pretty much been over and done with, but sometimes they do run into a cluster of people just playing border patrol, really, and stop them getting any further in the game. But now you've got NIP on the opposing side of that left-hand bridge. They can't come through West Town on South George. They're going to get completely stumped by NIP, who will know they're up there. But from there, I mean, they're going to have to run up the hills, take the rough terrain on the northern end of Erangel, to be honest with you, to avoid Na'Vi. Na'Vi have really put even more pressure on Razor Edge, which kind of, it might be a play of dominance. If you remember originally when Na'Vi went down to Sosnovka Island, they actually knew that Hawaii was going to rotate behind them. And they turned around, bridge camped, and says, no, we're not having this game. This doesn't play out like this, which did stop them going forward. And it might be kind of, you know, showing your chest and really exerting your dominance here, and potentially there's either a chance to push them out of North Georgia. It can support 2 teams, but you don't really want to be playing off of the back foot and off of the back of a team constantly gatekeeping you.
We should also remember, obviously, the move to Sosnovka was more a reaction, being pushed out of Pachinki rather than, you know, proactively changing. So this may be a case of, right, going back to the drawing board, what's available. This is certainly viable territory. Looking at the circle at the moment, my worry at the moment is G2, where they're going to regroup, but it looks like they're going to be there quicker. I'm seeing some pretty early rotates, as expected. We're in the 4+ minute mark, so most of the team's already going. You know, Team Liquid coming out of Pachinki, Vitality already moving down from the apartments. You can see Recurrent is going to be like the first man, the scout man for Na'Vi. But yeah, this is literally the week for adjustments. This is all of the teams. You know, there's no secrets anymore. Everybody knows what everyone's doing. Scrims have been lackluster, I think it's safe to say, outside of being live here in PEL. There's not been a great deal going on online that the teams have been able to gain knowledge to before we sort of got here, and a lot of teams are kind of sandbagging as much as they can, but I think everyone's kind of showed their hand in week 1. Now it's a case of how do we react? Looking at the rotations, I can see M19 and Digital Athletics getting very close to one another on Potato Hill.
Digital Athletics will start the rain of fire. Mertek's out elite player. They might know there's no res in that. That's going to be going, so they have to make sure they convert this kill, which they do. First point, first victim there in week number 2. They can claim Potato Hill, and more importantly, the fire that they've kind of set themselves here will actually warn people not to bother rotating up there. Remember, you are going to be traveling uphill, so they'll have an instant advantage on you unless you can turn up in, you know, very quickly in vehicles and hit the tiny little ditch that surrounds this house area. You can get up close and personal, maybe throw some nades in and breach this compound, but there's absolutely no reason to. And obviously, we can see on your screen, Mert does have an M24, so he'll be able to try and pick some face at range if anybody wants to try and really attack them onwards. But again, this is a nice, safe location. It's almost central circle. NIP, just to let you know, from our further distant field teams, NIP are now on the move as well. They're going to rotate down just past the streets of Gatka. FaZe, it looks like they actually have information and read on where potentially a team is directly in front of them. Who are they going to be shooting at there? So take a look at the map. It's going to be the Knights.
Yeah.
And the Knights could get a little bit caught off guard here, Lee, because they have FaZe to their right-hand side, and just above them, they've got M19. M19 will be in a bit of a scramble at the moment. Obviously, initially losing one person, you start to panic, and if they decide to either re-rotate or reposition, they might walk into a wall of Knights with their shields raised and ready to fight.
Well, the problem is for FaZe, like, ordinarily with this circle, they'd like to sort of get to Potato Hill. Well, it's not a viable option right now, which is what they're scouting for, to see whether they could squeeze along there. TSM have been a little late to the party, actually. I think they've just been happy with militaries. NIP coming into the circle late. They're deciding to go deep south and try and work their way up that way and maybe bump into the backside of Winstrike and the Jokers. They're passing Winstrike now, so it looks like Jokers will be the target. But Team Liquid have gone for a rather large spread. Now, they did this last time when we had the Pachinki finish.
They did it all week.
It's a little, I would say a little too greedy maybe at the moment with the amount of teams that are sort of close around them. You can see Samty and Ibi up here.
You could say it's more of a bit of an old-style play.
Yeah.
From, you know, I say years gone by. This game's obviously been out 2 years now, but it's a much older level of play rather than turning as a 4 and taking one single compound, exerting your dominance on the map and putting your arms reach out there to take more. It's basically a circle play, right? You're putting more players down. You run the risk of being individually picked off, or if a team turns up, you'll be in a 2 versus 4. But it's more waiting for that circle. If it shifts up north, if you've got 2 players sitting up north protecting a compound, you're already ahead of the game and you're preempting it if the circle could come by you.
FaZe just had that look. We saw them taking shots. Still, the only team not in the circle now is Razor Edge. By the way, they're just coming over the Western Georgia Bowl bridge. I should mention, if you've just joined us, we are on the, obviously, the offline servers, so we are not on the live patch that just went live that you guys at home will be playing. We are still on patch 26 here, just in case there are any problems or anything like that. I don't want it to affect competitive play. Of course, there's been a big weapon change in that one. Hopefully we'll get to see it in competitive as soon as possible. The circle does move, and as expected, it will pull away from Sosnovka Island.
So let's take a look at this and then kind of talk it out. Obviously, we preempted the circle would more go to Sosnov for the simple fact that you had 60-70 land ratio. Razor Edge doing the usual game, being that slow team and even slower because they flipped a vehicle. Press F for RYE. So still playing the same game as what they actually played last week. We saw NIP almost rotating to red diamonds. They were heading down to that left-hand bridge in case they needed to pull an emergency maneuver and a shift over
Look
to
at
the
this
side.
Western rotate.
Yeah, this is the problem that you're going to have now because it's not a. I mean, you could call it a hard shift, this circle, because it's gone north. It's a preemptive hard shift.
It's a predictable hard shift.
It
though.
is.
Yeah.
Now they will expect that everyone's decided to try and bomb mid because they'll be playing for where it'll go against the water. They know the Rosox school apartments area. They're going to be open and expect to see a few of these teams.
Rotates.
Yeah, expect to see a few of them hit the blue because it's going to be quite close to the edge of the circle, so you won't take too much damage because you're going to be close. Again,
Fast rail set up. Fast rail set up on this one. Winstrike going straight into him. Tixu's coming over. You can see that's Tixu in the distance, but Fast rail is over the bridge, ready and waiting. They've actually set up Wanted, so they've turned a Wanted. Fast rail is taking shots on them to try and return it, but Wanted goes down. The blue will be the focus for him. He's going to get knocked there. We'll be able to get him on the feet. I don't really know.
Absolutely no fear, Lees. The calls come through. Keep punching it, go, go, go. That's a sign of no fear.
CrowCrowd and NIP are also coming in behind them, by the way. CrowCrowd have actually pulled up on Everest to turn on NIP. So NIP are quickly having to get some evasive maneuvering going on here. They can go across the field to ruins. It is completely open. We can see that, but they don't know that.
I'd like to have seen Fast Rail do a bit more damage there, to be honest with you. At least picked up a point.
Oh, and he's been downed by the blue.
Okay, so he must have been shot then in the distance while he was in the blue, which tanked him up and he's fallen. So a bit of a blunder here from Fast Rail. I'm going to call it as it is. He definitely should have been at least knocking one, maybe even potentially two if you had an AR or a grenade getting stuck in there. But it looks like Liquid are actually pushing on Vitality.
I think it's... Oh, no, it's not two members. This is a full spread from Vitality. They're up the hill. This could be a complete wipe right here. Fast Rail does get confirmed. We can see that in the kill feed there. But Jazz are now down and out. Team Liquid get themselves their first kill on the board. And you can see Monkey and Nasus up in the hill. If I were them, they're going to have to back away from this one. I don't think they're going to save Shadow in any way.
I think that's the second for Winstrike as well. That's two members now. They've actually fallen. Oh, NIP have actually set up. So they've changed places here as CrowCrowd come rolling through. Gaxi trying to lay down the law here with the M4. Also, the STS
He's on his own, isn't he? He is on his own. Oh, Tixu's got back involved.
They're in the backlines here, so Winstrike are just kind of mopping people up.
Yeah, Dream for You actually steals the kill away from them, but yeah, that was a solo play from Gaxi there, actually. The rest of NIP behind and actually over towards the crates, so everybody on these big wide rotates, and they're massive rotates here. They've gone way out north.
See, this is the thing. Teams will have expected this and kind of preempted it. Maybe Raise Your Edge were caught off guard a little bit or a bit too slow to the party, but Winstrike definitely knew this was a possibility. They ended up turning on Raise Your Edge and taking two members out, which, to say Fast Rail was already ahead of the game waiting for them. They turned around pretty sharpish and got the job done, to be honest with you. They'll carry on with a team of four.
Monkey down, he's going to be gone. G2 will claim that kill, and that leaves Nasus the only man standing for Vitality. This is not how they read game one going.
Don't show his box. That's just cruel, man. That's just cruel.
Look at this. They're still rotating so big. They're outside the circle, but they'd be happy with the path that it has gone. We are going up towards the school apartments.
This is going to be cruel because obviously still we have that northern edge I'd say a good 30% of the map is completely open territory and fair game for everyone. Credit to FaZe, Bump, they're in the vehicles and they're on the way. They're taking this one rather early and not bothering to take the fights, obviously. Sometimes we were seeing this rather aggressive FaZe, but last week wasn't their best week. This time, not necessarily you will see a more passive play, but definitely a more preemptive play. That's why they're doing what you usually see Liquid. Get in the vehicles, get a good foothold on the map and get a good position. They're in a certain slot here on the western bank of the map where they might be able to catch a couple of teams on the rotation. They put ENCE at the crossroads so we can watch all 4 points.
15 times with a Groza. That's a tease. Does Wookie have an M24 in his back, maybe?
It's all about the level 3s.
Yeah.
Stuff the guns. Give me the level 3s any day.
Well, that's true. But was Wookie pulling up? I was hoping it'd be an AWM for him, but not the case.
I think they'll need it because they're going head-on heels, Lee, into an open-arm FaZe Clan.
Oh, we did not expect that. Ruslan Mar, well, went to Finland to have his exams in the break, and he's back here in Berlin, and he's already been taken down by Batulin, the young lad. Not doing so hot there. A Bison for Rekran.
But the thing is, though, his position here, he'll be able to hear him medding. So you saw him there, popping the stims. He'll be calling this one out. Boys, he's stimming. Take a push, take a peek, take a look.
Has he not got a nade? A single nade? I mean, it's so early. He must have a nade just to underhand out that window.
Nade here. Preemptive nade. Oh, TSM are pretty tanked up in the car here. You can still see the damage being done with Na'Vi.
FaZe are really spread here, though. They actually could catch the rest of them. This is not good for FaZe. You can see Michael in the distance there. 80 trying to catch on towards them. Wookiees getting lit up, but it looks like they may be able to get by somehow. The FaZe spread has not been able to set the net out strong enough. They are pulling up, and they're going to actually have a maybe position to turn back on FaZe here, TSM.
Kramer holds the angle for just a second to try and get a bit more of a wide body on Brexico. And if you're going after a G2 member, you've got to be ready, and you've got to make sure they go down first time, because someone like Brexico is currently at the top of our kill feed. He'll happily turn around and take your face.
CrowCrowd and NIP, they've been tracking each other the whole way. They've actually pulled up into the same compound now. They're on the north or south of, it's the large compound just west of Rozhok over the bridge. So they pulled up close to one another.
I'm really surprised Trefeli's still alive, to be honest with you. Maybe they don't know how many numbers are there, because definitely with Medin, you can hear him when he's popping the pills. They'll be able to get stuck in there, but Na'Vi have allowed him to stay alive and sit inside the corner.
So say, I don't know, I was surprised they didn't have a single nade just on the hand out the window.
Because 2 of them rush him, and it needs GG, to be honest with you. But Reels, speaking of nades, just as you call it, that's G2 Brexico down and dead. Obviously, clearly posting it through the little letterbox of the shack where he was hiding. So a point going in the bag of the Knights. Reels, again, he was spoke about by Martin on the desk, adding so much firepower and individual kind of presence to this team. And again, I know you caught from outside. I mean, he's been pro in many different games, but this is the push that we were talking about earlier on, finally. Clear him out, just jump through the car wide. I hope I'm going to run him over, but it don't really matter. Get out the back door and just take him down. Just
waiting for the smoke to clear, I guess, and finally they just take the action themselves. So Batolian picks his second up for Na'Vi there. The circle has kind of centered up this time around. Ooh, tap down to nothing yet. It's going to get finished off, and this is starting to be a potential big round here. Samty concluded though. He goes out. Tab's going to finish, so the nade's going to finish him off from Jempty, so it's going to be a trade between them. They're both sitting on the edge of Potato Hill, so this is very much a battle for position as they try and move into the circle, and NIP catching a player along with Winstrike. Oh wow, CrowCrowd just getting picked apart, and they've crashed the compound. I think that's M19. No, it's ENCE's compound.
Liquid still ongoing on the Jokers. Set CrowCrowd are getting no respite at all, and all of a sudden 16th position. A team that has been struggling. 16th is not a good start to week number 2.
Oh, Kane steals the kill away from Ibi there. So G2 getting involved. So Potato Hill at the moment has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. Vitality still got Nasus Please on there. Pittsburgh Knights are coming up the other side of the hill. G2 moving up behind them. You can see them on the minimap in the bottom right-hand corner. And Kemba did actually get back revived. I don't know how. But he managed to get back on his feet. And now Jempty and Jeems, they're backing away from this one with the EB. They don't want a part of it because they saw G2 steal that kill. Too much third party, and they want to just go for cover.
There's no point at this.
Oh, Nasus found.
Okay, Voxic. He's been sniping all weekend long during week number 1, and this time, unfortunately, for Vitality, puts the nail in the coffin.
NIP tried to crash into the apartments, and that's where Na'Vi, of course, are sat ready and waiting, which is why we see one of the members going down. Team Liquid, you can see they've hopped in the vehicles. They've gone around and made the move into the circle. Where will they go? Will they try and crash the back of apartments? I don't know. MBS taken down by Sadovnik as well, and I think NIP, Miraku, the last man standing for them, as Senya gets flushed down by Kaint.
And this is why you saw Liquid moving, because they don't really want to be a part of that, where they have to take a fight outside of the circle with the blue on the back. You might as well get stuck in, but Na'Vi want to try and clear this building out and keep a presence over here in the apartment block. There's 2 members of NIP upstairs. MBS is down and more than likely dead.
Yeah, he's going to get flushed out. Recurrence just taking no chances.
He might as well be cautious, right?
Yeah. We saw them pull the nades out straight away, though. NIP immediately trying to stop them dead in their tracks, but it looks like they're going to be sieged by the Russians as they pile up into those apartments, trying to keep it as clear as they can at the moment. Team Liquid, by the way, they got themselves pretty central with that move.
Which is good, because otherwise they could potentially have been in the same position that the Joker's in now, Lee.
Yeah, because look at Potato Hill right now. You've got Pittsburgh Knights, G2, and as you mentioned, the Joker's Kemba. He's kind of out in the blue trying to run away from this one. As Raise Your Edge get found out, there is G2 and Pittsburgh Knight. They're clashing on the Potato Hill at the moment. Na'Vi are going to back away from this fight, it looks like, and just retreat back in towards their apartment building.
Kemba will do what he can to stay alive, but one band out inside the blue. You probably won't expect to do much. M19 doing some damage. They took down Snark and confirmed the kill. Nades up and over. That should be on Odia. Just skims by, but honestly, that's going to confirm in Drayden. And again, the Knights having a wonderful start today, 1 week 2 here. A couple of kills in the bag already for them. And Na'Vi now, they turn their focus to Team Liquid as they catch them out in the open. It's actually Bestalok who taps him in the foot and knocks out and confirms Jempty. Now he's knocked down. So
FaZe are crashed onto Raise Your Edge up in the north, actually.
Annihilation on G2.
Yeah, so G2, the leaders, the joint leaders at the moment, going down really early. Pittsburgh Knights taking them down. FaZe Clan absolutely smashing on towards the compound at the top. Cup of Magic goes down. That is Raise Your Edge out in 13th as FaZe Clan claim a victim. They're looking to move in. They have the northeast circle sort of to themselves, but there's not a great deal of cover over there in the current circle. Team Liquid, they're sending it. Ibi is charging in towards ENCE.
This could be dangerous. EMEA are ready and waiting. If he comes through the window, he'll be standing on a landmine. He's looking out for the rest of Team Liquid who'll come flying down that hill potentially. Mikas obviously does have his back up here. Ibi's trying to stay alive and do what he can. He'll be definitely getting the call, but look at that. You can see the bullets on the side of the bin. Did someone run him over?
They caught him. They caught him. James managed to actually... Oh, he bailed too early. Oh, no. The vehicle. They jumped out of the vehicle because he got shot in the vehicle. He got knocked out of the vehicle.
Yeah, I think he did.
And it came over and took EB out. And that wiped Team Liquid out. That is not a good way to go.
Something. Team Liquid members being killed by cars. PGI, something in my head. Anyway, moving on from that one. NIP still in a 2. They are staying alive. They've moved to a different side of the building, which is fantastic for them. They managed to force Na'Vi back. I say force Na'Vi back. Na'Vi wants to keep 4 up, and they're not bothering for just the points. That's a beautiful nade. It's gone a little bit... No, it hasn't. It just falls short. That could have rolled and been extremely dangerous. Bestalok on your screen is level 3'd up. So Red Diamonds do have some firepower if they want to challenge the Knights for dominance on this western front on the side. FaZe, though, they now have to turn their attention to M19, who are directly on the opposing side of the roadly and might even be able to hold them back and push FaZe into the blue.
Yeah, we've got a number of skirmishes going on here. You can see Na'Vi and Red Diamonds. That's sort of on the full western side. You can see them in the distance there. The Knights close to Digital Athletics here with TSM sort of posting either side of them. As you mentioned, FaZe and M19 trying to push on the far eastern circle. Iroh does find Reels. That's a decent knock. Are they going to try and flush it out? 6 minutes to get in a couple of shots on them. Meanwhile, as I mentioned, Digital Athletics, they have one either side. Kramer down, Iroh going off with the car. This is what we needed to see from him last week, and maybe we're going to see Digital Athletics waking up here today as they start to take a couple of pot shots through the smoke. Pittsburgh Knights, they're scurrying, and Red Diamonds, they're sensing blood. The Red Diamonds have turned onto the Knights as well. This could well be the end for the Knights.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate for the Knights here. They've turned up to a party and been split between 2 teams, so they're getting completely peppered from both angles and no real respite behind any tree because you got the Red Diamonds behind them, you got Digital in front of them, and 10th place will solidify their grave. Now, this is a hard shift. FaZe, Winstrike. Where do you go from this one, boys? You've got M19 lingering on the edge. If you go further afield, TSM are there, but it looks like Winstrike are actually taking a hard push here from the north. They've got the vehicles, and they are flying center.
And this could work. They're going to get on that hillside. The problem is there's not a great deal of cover on that hillside. You can see them in the minimap right now. They're pretty much pulling up and going to use this shack, and they've actually jumped ahead. But the problem is Red Diamonds, oh, they've got a prime angle on him. Dimmy and Dixu both down. Oh, Rickrent's going to get the final angle. Nuki the last man, and that is Winstrike in all sorts of trouble. Why did he go last? Jorski, the last man, he's trying to get in there. They've got 2 in the shack. Can he get in quick? No, he's down and out. All 4 of them done.
You could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to defend and body block for his teammates, but by doing so, he actually gave himself up, and all 4 of them off that maybe going and sit inside the shack wouldn't have been a bad shout, to be honest with you, but instead, the angle that so many people had, unfortunately, was just problematic, and they're all dead.
FaZe are pushing as well. FaZe have tried to leapfrog. Meanwhile,
creepy VOD!
VOD and Miracle, Na'Vi, they could have sieged them. They tried to push them down, but it has backfired.
He killed them all!
And Na'Vi get wiped out by NIP with a little smattering of help from Red Diamonds. And now look at Red Diamonds. They're coming down the hill. They want to try and pinch this one off. They see a lot of loot down there. Meanwhile, ENCE tried to take a little push. FaZe have got a snipe on them. TSM had a little peek on Digital Athletics, and now M19 are coming into the back of TSM.
We have to appreciate, I mean, Ninjas and Pyjamas, they've been eliminated in 7th, but they have been so sneaky and smashed Natus Vincere from the face of the planet. They held the building. They crept, they crawled, and as soon as Na'Vi came walking out, they just completely really opened up on them.
TSM down to 2, just Rory and Wookie. Gustav being taken down. FaZe are just hugging this tree right now. There's not a lot of cover in this circle, but as it stands, Red Diamonds on that hillside are looking pretty strong. It's now a battle on here. Wookie gets one. Can he get a second? He confirms it. Enoch goes down. Wanderer getting sprayed, but finally find him, and that's going to be Wookie flushed out. Iroh lands another as he gets involved and steals the kills. M19 eliminated in 6th place, and TSM saved. Rory should be able to get Wookie up here, but Digital Athletics, they're collecting a lot of kills on the hills.
Rory will be very aware that where them bullets came from, they'll definitely be calling it. Wookie will be in a salvageable position, but obviously Rory doesn't want to commit to it in case Digital Athletics can take him and pick him at distance. So he has to make a decision now as the IGL. Do I go and save my teammate, or do I potentially give myself up and lose 2? TSM in a tricky situation, and all of a sudden M19 come flying through, split between Digital as well. Both of them down and dead.
It's a 9-kill game for Digital Athletics already. This is the start they needed. FaZe are taking a look up that hillside. Mexi, you can see, has been down by Bestlock, and the circle donuts up there and centers and forces a lot of the teams to move. Red Diamonds have been gifted that crate as well. They've just hoovered up all of the loot from Winstrike in that shack as well, so they're going to be geared out of their minds moving into this one. I can tell you that Mexi is still just down and out, but ENCE is going looking for a frag. He's basically flanking on 6 mode. They're flanking each other.
I don't know about a flank, but it might just be a point where you can hold the angle perfectly. This is brilliant. Make sure FaZe at the front lines can get themselves and keep themselves together, while you sit back, ENCE, and just watch. Make sure nobody creeps any snakes from behind and causes FaZe some problems. And now, by him being there and eliminating that one person, FaZe can have a bit of a rest, get themselves back together, res their 4th man that was gone down, get themselves back together and push on into the hill.
And DA have engaged with Red Diamonds as well, so this trivector of a battle, it was all 4 alive for all 3 teams, but with Digital Athletics now losing that 1 to 8, has put them in a bit of a tricky position. You can see they're all rocking them DMRs up on high, looking for the angles of the shots. They have the high ground at the moment, but that advantage is slipping away from them now, and it's almost the fact these big ridges, it's kind of working against them. FaZe are looking to try and push in towards the circle a little bit more, find themselves a couple of trees, while Red Diamonds, they're still holding that solo shack that's inside the circle.
I think FaZe will come more towards Digital Athletic for the simple fact that where Bestlock is, he's got an angle from uphill on so many different people. Saying that, they've actually moved into the line of sight. Dink, dink. Uber picks up at least some damage and be able to point them out, and all of a sudden spins around on a pinhead, spots out Digital Athletics. So he's giving all this information lead to the rest of FaZe Clan. All they need to do is confirm all these bodies.
Look at Iroh, he's flanked around the back of them. He's managed to catch one in the back, sees Fuzzface. Fuzzface actually down by Pin, but flushed out by Iroh. 10 and counting for Digital Athletics so far. He's a problem for them. Can he find ENCE? No. ENCE gets him down, and that will finish him off. So Iroh goes down, a beautiful death. Also getting lit up by Uber as well. Mert, the last man standing for them. He's trying to see what he can do, but he's going to get flushed out. The rest of FaZe Clan moving on him. But is there too much damage done to FaZe Clan? Because Red Diamonds are still sitting low. They're moving in. Aduzi and Bestlock going hunting.
But they do get hit at range, which will knock them out for now. They are in the lead when it comes to the advantage on the bodies on the playing field. Uber's literally holding on for dear life. Mexi will be giving him the information potentially where this shot will be coming from next if he creeps up above the hill, but he's got to hold the angle because Mert's up there, and it's a battle for 2nd place. Meanwhile, Red Diamonds have actually got themselves back together, so they'll be able to get the res and go into this final circle with all 4 up. Yeah,
they weren't able to deal with Mert because of the shots coming from Red Diamonds. It's caused some problems, and now you can see FaZe Clan split. Mexi and Uber, Mert's going sort of swinging around, got a smokes down. He actually might cause a problem for Red Diamonds, or maybe give FaZe Clan a 2nd place here. It's looking like Red Diamonds is to win in this current state.
He has to be careful because of how many different angles they'll be able to hold on to him. Maybe FaZe now hears that shots are coming through, not onto them, but onto Digital Athletics, and try and advance on this to clean him up. But finally, Uber gets spotted, gets banged in the face and confirmed. Aduzi picks up another .7.
And Mexi goes down. FaZe go down in 3rd place. You know, it's a decent placement. I think they had 6 kills in total, but it's the Red Diamonds that will pick it up. And honestly, if you were to